taxes on the American colonies in the late 1700s, and we weren't given a say, we fought back. We came up with the saying, no taxation without representation. We threw tea into the harbor in the dead of night. When they sent soldiers into our country and into our homes, we fought back. We protested in the streets to the cost of our own lives. And when they refused to back down, we finally put our foot down. Our tiny nation of farmers went to war with a global superpower and won. We won our right to freedom, and with it, our right to vote for what happens to our country. We won the right to choose who represents us, what the ideals of our nation are, and the laws that we will abide by. If we choose not to vote, we choose not to exercise the right that American soldiers have fought and died for hundreds of years. We choose not to exercise the right that was the foundation of our country. If everyone makes that choice, if everyone chooses that they'll just stay home, that their vote doesn't matter, then nothing will ever change. If you're unhappy with how a politician is running a district or a state or a country, then the only option is to vote them out. You can't complain about how a system is being run while simultaneously doing nothing to change that system, especially when the choice to do so is so clearly presented. Some people argue that their district or state always votes one way, so there's no point, or that there are 327.5 million people in this country, so one vote won't change anything, or that all politicians are corrupt anyway, so there are no good options. The problem with this line of thinking is that if everyone follows it, then yes, you're absolutely correct. There's no point. Then yes, one vote won't change anything. Then yes, corrupt politicians will always win. But if everyone decides that their vote does matter, that they want to be represented by people that support their ideas, that they want the issues they're passionate about to be handled adequately, that they want to see a change in their nation, then change will certainly come. In the 2016 presidential election, Republican candidate Donald Trump won Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, 3 Rust Belt states that had been solidly Democratic for many years. This is a perfect example of people wanting to see a change in who was representing them, going out, voting, and seeing that change happen when Trump won the election. After the American Revolution, we wanted to divorce ourselves from British ideals and systems as much as we could. We wrote a constitution that was starkly different from that of England's, set up an entirely different system of government, and established ourselves as our own nation, no longer a colony of the British Empire. It is within this same vein that we have to vote on the ideals of our nation. Beyond the laws that regulate us, we have to vote on what we want to show to the other nations of the world. What do we allow? What don't we allow? How tough are we on terror, poverty, human trafficking, drugs, crime, war, gun control, climate change, and other dangerous issues? Where do we stand on civil rights, women's rights, abortion, marriage equality, and other human rights issues? Whether we vote directly on these issues or we elect representatives who hold beliefs on these issues that we agree with, voting on them sends a message to our leaders and other world leaders where we stand as a nation and what we believe in. In contrast, not voting on these issues sends a message that we believe that the message our country sends out isn't important. They don't care what happens to or in our country. Both of these things go against what our country was founded upon, that we're not going to be pushed around, that we're an independent nation with independent beliefs and systems. In order to have our nation reflect the ideals of its people, we have to go out and vote on these issues to take a stand, whatever that stand may be. Laws differ from nation to nation, state to state, and even district to district. This aspect of voting is one of the single most important in any nation. The laws that govern our nation make up the base of our nation. Every choice we make, every politician we elect, every ideal that our nation upholds, it all comes down to the laws that we, as a nation, will choose to abide by. And this is where our vote may matter most. What we as a people believe is moral and just. How we think we deserve to be treated by law enforcement, and how they deserve to be treated by us. How far our rights go, and what restrictions we place on them. All of these are determined by our votes. If we believe something is unjust, we say so with our vote. If you believe there is something wrong with the current law, but that a law should exist where it currently doesn't, say so with your vote. In America, we have chosen to govern ourselves, and with that choice comes the responsibility to do so appropriately, for the sake of our nation and all the people in it. This is why my vote matters so much. There are laws that exist that I believe are unjust, and there are laws that I feel should exist when they don't. And the only way to make a change is to vote and show the government where I stand. The right for everyone who is of age to vote is something that we Americans pride ourselves on. This right allows us to make ourselves present in the way our country operates. We as individuals have the right to choose who is representing us in our government, the ideals our nation stands to uphold, and the laws that govern us and maintain order. These things are fundamental to our way of life, and making them fall in line with the beliefs of the country is just as important. This is why my vote matters.